And a short-term rental, in essence, is an Airbnb, it's a motel, it's a hotel, and all its very basic nature. I did a quick analysis, assuming there's 15 residents that are currently STRs, and if that was the case, if you figure 150-foot separation across the street or next door or behind, that's about 20 to 30% of the 658 units would directly impact the neighbor, the surrounding neighbor around the STR. That's substantial. And a good percentage of those 15, I think, are out of village owners. There is no gain to villages, no documentation of any financial gain or benefit to the village that I'm aware of, heard of, or read in any publication. And last but not least, to keep it simple and sweet, here again, you can read my, and I trust, and I hope you do read my detailed communications. There's a reason why the town of Pittsburgh is disallowing STRs, or more appropriately put, they are not permitting STRs in the town of Pittsburgh. And they themselves, we have direct contact with them and pursue it further. There's a reason. They see that there's no gain for the village or the town. It's contrary to a residential nature of residential districts, obviously. And then certainly to enforce it is difficult. And as we all know, when it's on record, as stated by representatives of the village themselves on record, there's neither the resources, and it, quite frankly, a statement was made that they didn't see themselves as the enforcer of codes, but rather to make everybody satisfied. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Art. My understanding is the town doesn't have any STR regulation at all.
They have no regulation.
None.
That's what I'm saying. My comment was that they're not permitting any SDR.
No.
They exist.
Pardon?
They exist in the town. They're just not regulated.
There may be a couple.
I think
but the point is it's not permitted and they're not allowing any more.
Thank you for that. I'll circle back to supervisors.
May you remember that David and I have a very hard stop when you start.
Oh, that's right, you have a hard stop.
Yeah,
Thank you for the reminder.
Sure,
Thank
so
you.
we should probably
Yep,
do stuff
yep,
we have to vote on.
yep, Yep. But we have public comment first, so is there any other comment? Okay. Oh, yeah, here. Less than 3 minutes.
My name is Peter Brzee. I live at 81 South Main Street in Pittsburgh, New York. With regard to the extension of the moratorium, I hope that you'll consider that. With regard to what you call short-term rentals, and I think of as hotels, I think that hotels should be permitted in zones where hotels are permitted. They should not be permitted in zones where hotels are not permitted. I believe that any grandfathering, as you call it, is really illegal. And the reason it's illegal is because one could do anything they wanted anywhere. And if there was no negative comment and it went on for a while, you would have no right to stop that use. You would have to grandfather that use. So I have a barn. If for the last 4 years I sold handguns out of my barn and nobody complained, would you then grant that use by grandfathering it? I just ask you to consider those things. I ask you to consider the future of this community. What do you want this community to look like for yourselves, for your children, for your grandchildren, or for anybody else who happens to move in? Please think of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for your input. Yes.
Ronald Corby, 7 Washington Avenue. I've been following village issues closely for the last 45 years. And the threat of short-term rentals reminds me very much of the situation in the 1970s when there was a big push to allow retail uses and office uses in residential neighborhoods. And there was quite a lot of discussion at that time that what kind of village did we want to be in the future? And where we came out was that our neighborhoods are small, they're fragile, but they provide a unique living situation, especially for families in a walkable environment. And because neighborhoods are like dominoes and we don't have a lot of residential building stock to play with, if we lose them, we're going to lose the constituency of what makes the village a special place to live in the very sense of community. Short-term rentals, often owned by outside investors, poses the same risk because they don't have the same sense of stewardship that people that live here and you as board members are supposed to represent us as residents, not outside investors. I know of many communities that treat short-term rentals like hotels, like villages, the village of Watkins Glen, for example, which is basically stop short-term rentals because they've imposed the same code requirements that are subject to hotels. I also know in my 28 years serving as mayor, in my dialogue with mayors across the state, that virtually every other benchmark community similar to us is regulating this issue in a way that's appropriate for that community. And across the nation, even places as liberal, as lax zoning as Las Vegas and Henderson, Nevada, are dealing with this issue. So I applaud your efforts so far. I support the extension of the moratorium and hope to see what your proposal is in regulating this issue. Thank you.
Great, thanks for your input. Okay. Treasurer's report.
Board has received the bill pay. I did review with the board, and I didn't get a chance to tell Lisa. There's an addition to the bill pay from yesterday, another $5,000 bill. We're trying to get everything caught while we have you.
That's because they're doing the restoration.
Correct, they're starting to pull the wrought iron for the restoration.
Okay, that's what that, oh, great, okay.
Okay, so with that amendment, if I can have authorization to pay those bills.
Motion to approve the bill pay as presented. Second.
Okay, trustee Marshall?
Aye.
Trustee Coe?
Aye.
Trustee Lanfair?
Aye.
Trustee Lightgev?
Aye.
Mayor Plummer?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay,
And that's all I got.
that's it?
That's it.
Any clerk report, anything on the horizon?
Nothing. I'm going to be on vacation next week, and then I'll be at conference through the 10th, so.
Enjoy.
Yeah,
Okay. That's all I
do
got.
phone in, okay. Okay, well, yeah, it's after 6. Okay, so we do have a public hearing for the local law extending the moratorium on short-term rentals. Anything, any
I
discussion?
make a
from the
motion to
board?
open the public hearing.
Okay, but just,
I second.
just before we open it, was there any discussion with the
Oh, okay.
board? Okay, that's all. Okay, so you're going to make the motion, okay.
I'll make a motion that we open the public hearing.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Coe?
Aye.
Trustee Marshall?
Aye.
Trustee Lanfair?
Aye.
Trustee Lightgev?
Aye.
Mayor Plummer?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, the public hearing is open. Would anybody wish to speak on this matter, or is there anyone also online?
We do have a couple online.
Okay, I saw a hand go up. I saw a hand, let's take,
Maria?
yeah. Hi, Maria,
Hi,
welcome.
thank you so much. Come right here.
Yep, sure.
Okay. So, my question is, I'm watching this polarize our community and residents feeling frightened. I'm wondering why we don't just put this out to vote like we did cannabis. Is it possible to just put this out to vote?
Take it to a referendum, I mean, public referendum among the villagers.
Something,
Which is what we did with the cannabis, that's why I'm using that language.
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to say, yes.
And can I speak, Mayor? I had that thought as well. And I think my understanding of referendums is that you have to have a written local law to present so that residents will have a law that they'll have to say yes or no. And if you know any laws, there's so many different complexities. So if somebody doesn't like one little piece of the law, they're going to vote no, where they might like a lot of the other parts of it. So that's why a referendum is something that is difficult with lots of different moving pieces.
Can I-
may be difficult.
May I just bring up
Sure.
a quick point of order? This is a public hearing specifically related to the law extending the moratorium on short-term
Yeah,
rentals.
you're speaking to a different topic, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
So the board can take that under advisement, and we appreciate that. Is there anything you'd like to say about the moratorium?
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
And please feel free to email it into us as well, if you want to kind of follow up on any of it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, all righty. Anyone wishing to speak on extending the moratorium? Yes, Jeff?
My name is Jeffrey Mason, and I live at 68 State Street, which is just over the East Canal Bridge. And I remember when the canal bridge had a wooden floor. So I go back that far. First of all, I'd like to publicly praise our ex-mayor here for the years of effort he put in making this place a decent, gentle, civilized place in which to live. Here, here.
Thank you. Yep. Can you speak to the extension of the moratorium,
Okay,
please?
yes, I-
Yeah, that's wonderful. We all thank the former mayor.
I'm considering that because the degrading of residential properties is an ominous thing, and it threatens to shake the security of the other residential properties. So you think long and hard before you want to degrade these properties. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for your
Thank you.
comments. Okay, appreciate it. Anyone else wishing to comment on extension of the moratorium? And you said there was somebody online?
There's two
Okay.
people with nothing.
Oh, okay, I just didn't know if they had a
Nope.
note in or something.
Nope.
Okay,
Dorothy, I was just wondering procedurally, there were a couple of comments related to the moratorium at the beginning of the meeting. Could we make a motion to include those as part of the public hearing?
Oh, because the member items, you mean? And they went under the member
No,
items?
They were in the public
Yeah.
comment, they'll still be on the.
It'll still be- it'll
thing.
still
On
be-
the record, okay.
Still
on the
be-
record.
I'll just make a reference here then that there were comments related to the moratorium that I supported it in
how
the.
about if we close the hearing and bring it back to the
Yeah.
board for that? Okay. Is there a motion to close the public
Can you make a
hearing?
motion to close the public hearing?
I'll second.
Okay, trustee Lanfair,
Aye.
trustee Lightgev,
Aye.
trustee Coe,
Aye.
trustee Marshall, Mayor Plummer.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'd like to make a motion to extend the moratorium. Do we have a date that we're extending it to? Did we decide on the
It's
date?
September,
Yeah, it's 2 months, 2 more months.
So
whatever it is.
September, are we doing exactly the 25th?
I thought we were extending it for 6 months.
Oh, was it another 6? Maybe I thought.
Yeah, the
Oh,
legal
yeah,
laws
we-
extended
we-
for
we
another
did
6
do-
months.
Yeah, we did do 6.
So that would
Originally, we
be,
thought two.
let's see, where are we? June, July, August, September, October, November, December. December 25th, Christmas.
Oh,
December, so should we say December 1st? Or do we have to do exactly 6 months?
we could say 6 months from this date.
You
Which
can,
is
only-
25th.
what's the date
Oh, that's
in the?
No, I'm sorry, I'm gonna take that back. It was gonna be 6 months, but I guess the board had
It's
changed.
September.
It's gonna be September 8th.
That it is 2.
Yeah, this is
It is
two.
two.
It's
It's
not,
two,
the
okay.
date is not, the date would be pursuant to the legislation in front of us. which is-
Effective from the date.
Okay, so it's September
Eighth.
8th. Okay, make a motion to extend the moratorium for short-term rentals to September 8th. Do I have a second? 2024.
Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Lanfair,
aye.
trustee Coe,
Aye.
trustee Lightgev,
Aye.
trustee Marshall, Mayor Plummer.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks also for your input. Next up, a special permit for 19 State Street,
Oh, wait, can we go back to the local law?
Local law.
That is subject to seeker,
Oh, seeker, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
seeker.
that reminder. Thank you, thank
and
you.
I believe it's type 2.
It is.
Make a motion to designate the extension of the moratorium as a type 2 seeker action.
Oh, you're on it.
I second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Still writing, hold on. Trustee Coe,
Aye.
trustee Marshall,
Aye.
trustee Lanfair,
Aye.
trustee Lightgev,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer.
Aye,
Motion passes.
good
We
catch,
need to
thank you.
revote it, or can we swap order?
Board agrees to swap the order.
Yes.
All right, we agree
Okay.
to swap order.
Without Jeff. I think.
Bada bing. Okay, next up, special permit. Yes, oh, yes, sure, Lily, of course.
Thank you very
of
much.
course.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for coming this evening. Also, I would just want to put a reminder out there that the moratorium ends on September the 8th, and the board will be meeting on August 13th for a
Public
special
hearing.
meeting to have a public hearing for the draft legislation on short-term rentals. It'll happen at 6 PM.
And that's
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah, and we'll put notices out, so, so people will be reminded.
Right.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lily, thanks for that. Okay, anything else before we go to the next item on the agenda? Because I know we're trying to beat the clock here, because you guys have to have a deadline.
There's a hand.
Oh, we have a hand up. I see you over the podium, yes.
At the podium.
Okay, yes.
Cindy Kerber,
Yes.
81 South Main. I'm just
Mhm.
curious when the draft legislation will be available to the public to review.
I believe there is draft legislation right now on the website. If you go in the packets, the most current legislation, I think there was changes made
There were
last
some
night.
changes
Oh, Let me finish.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Changes were made last night. I talked to the attorney. He is working on it. As
Please
soon as
silence
we
yourself,
receive it, I'll be posted.
So you're going to put it on the website?
I'm going to put it front and center on the website for everybody to
Yep.
see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, everybody will be able to take a look at it. Okay, next up, special permit.
There is one more
Oh.
comment.
Okay, yes, sure.
Quickly coming up, Peggy, in regards to if there's any changes to that draft resolution between now and the 13th of August, how soon could that be available? I mean, how do we know? Do we get notification?
There's just some tweaking. It's not a major changes, and it'll probably, I think Jeff will turn it around pretty,
And I would say
Quickly.
unless the board makes changes at their following meeting, what's going to be publicized is what's going to be
Yeah.
heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can't change it.
Yeah, change
Probably
the
nothing
lesson
major.
public.
They can change it at the meeting, but they
Yes.
cannot change it until that time.
Right.
Okay, so what's being put on the website will be the final local law unless changes are made at the public hearing.
Maybe just, sorry, tangentially, do you send out a notice similar to announcing that there are meetings coming up, that there is this
yes.
draft in
No,
advance, well, before 1 day in advance of the meeting?
no, we send out
We
the,
send out,
I get mine 1 day before meetings.
can't control that, but I send it out usually the Friday prior to the meeting. I send out a notice with the agenda information regarding the meeting.
and any additional administrative questions that people ask, please feel free to just call our office directly, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, special permit for 19 State Street, and I believe it's a salon.
Yes.
Okay, and so if there are any questions on the permit, we would be, is there anybody here to speak about it?
Come on.
Okay. Didn't know where we were on this. Hi, pull up chairs, come on in, have a seat, or you want to stand, whatever you want to do.
Tom and Victoria Fontaine.
Hi, welcome.
And
Okay.
just for the record, it's not a hair salon, it's a health and wellness spa.
Oh,
So just wanna-
even better, even better, okay. We all had a chance to take a look at the permit. Are there any questions that we have for our friends here?
We move this to
Public hearing?
public hearing
Yep.
on the July,
July 16th and set 6 PM.
I'll make a motion to move the application for the new salon and wellness spa to July 16th at 6 PM.
July 16th at 6. And what's the address of State Street?
It's 19.
19 State Street,
Second floor.
at 6 PM.
Mhm.
I second.
Okay, trustee Lampier,
Aye.
trustee Lightgev,
Aye.
trustee Marshall,
Aye.
trustee Coe,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Aye,
motion passed.
okay, we'll see you then.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks so much. Okay, anything else that the board needs to bring up before we?
I have just a couple very
I know you
small
do,
things.
I know you do.
Very small things, which is, in the work that Jeff's doing for the law, right, there's just a few things I saw today that I thought could be slightly amended before he puts out the final version.
I would say, talk to Jeff about the amendments, because without the rest of the board seeing it, if it's, misspelling, it's no big deal. But if it's anything that substantially changes the local law, it poses an issue.
It shouldn't be, it's simply the idea that right now it says, no short-term rental shall be within 100 feet of a residence, and I'd like for that to say residential property line.
You'll have to speak to him.
Yeah, just want to talk to Jeff. about
Words
that.
can change it very easily.
Okay?
Yeah, talk to Jeff directly.
So and that is, so let's hypothetically say that I'm too late to have that be in the time frame for this to be adopted at the right time for the public hearing.
Mhm.
Would that suggest that we would simply amend it after the fact?
That could always be done.
Yeah, we can always do that.
You
We
can
can always
always
do
do
that,
that.
yeah.
And you can make amendments as long as, at the public hearing, long as it's not making it more restrictive. If you were to make it
That
less
might be
restrictive,
restrictive.
and you never know what a word will
I
do.
suppose it depends on the building inspector's interpretation of the residence, whether or not that's the building or the property line.
Right, and I can't speak to that.
That would be a different discussion.
And then the only other thing, just to put it on our minds, would be the number of guests per house that is hosted.
Yeah, that is actually a derivative from code.
So there's something in there already that addresses that.
And you can speak with Steve about it, he can fill you in on that.
Yeah. That was just something that I.
Dave, I think with the property line issue, maybe we could go back and somebody could listen to the meeting, because I think we might have referred to it as the property line in some cases.
Right.
So it might depend on what we actually instructed, and maybe what we got back is not actually what we discussed, so.
That's true.
I think what we did was refer to the code that exists currently on special use permits, abutting residential, particularly restaurant or similar situation. That is what we were referenced, and that's what we wanted to repeat in this ordinance.
And the other, just the final thought was, again, maybe it's too late for this, but it's the idea of, right now, it's being written with the 1-year time frame. So regardless of the hardship appeal, there's 1 year. Obviously, we could go into that discussion and extend that longer, because that's less restrictive. But if there are, let's say, multiple noise complaints, right now, the way the special permit's rescinded, it's whether or not the property owner has addressed the building inspector's violations. So for example, if the building inspector says, hey, there's a noise violation, go out, noise stops, it's been fixed. But let's say 2 weeks later, there's another noise violation, it's been stopped.
How to factor in a certain number of
Yeah.
complaints before the plug's pulled.
Yeah, so as of right now, the way that the special permit is written, the way to rescind it is quite limited, in that it requires the building inspector to have a complaint that has not been addressed. And so with every single individual complaint of noise, for example, it's addressed at that moment and it's fixed, because they go away and they move. So I think something should be embedded in there that gives this board the opportunity to rescind a special permit with a little bit more veracity. And I say that specifically because I may in that meeting think maybe a year is not enough, but I'd want to have more capacity to address violations. And right now the law is a little too loose relative to the building inspector's interpretation.
And that could also, I think that should be tied completely into the whole rental registry.
Yeah, so we can do it one of two ways,
I would do
right?
that, really.
So the
I think it
special
would be a
permit-
broader
Yeah.
approach.
So you could definitely go the route of saying, if there's noise violations, you lose your rental permit.
Well,
And that's going to affect short-term and long-term in the same.
well, for how many, I mean, if it's one time,
Right.
do you, in other words, we would have to come up with something that's realistic.
Right.
That's practicable.
Right.
Yeah, and I
And so
think
the
we can work
challenge-
on that.
The
Yeah,
challenge with a
but-
short-term rental is, you don't evict the tenant. The challenge with a long-term
Sure.
rental would be, oh, I have a tenant who's an issue, we address it by evicting the tenant, and then they continue to rent the property. Whereas in a short-term rental, it's more about the persistency of the rental.
That would be a discussion with our attorney. That's,
So
I think, a different purview from here.
what I'm
as
trying to work
member
to,
item.
just so that people know, is maybe there's some modifications after the fact that we could come forward and look at if we didn't quite immediately address in that.
We can always tweak.
We can always tweak.
Yep.
But those are some thoughts that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Mayor, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot there's a piece of information I have to have the board vote on. I'll
Yep.
be right back.
Okay,
So just talking.
okay, hold that thought. Okay.
I suppose one other thing just to ponder while she's pulling that up is, as a short-term rental landowner, well, I definitely believe moving towards having no short-term rentals in residential districts is the right approach. One of the considerations is it takes time to sell the property. If in fact you want to replace that property with a different short-term rental in a different area, a different town or a different village that allows short-term rentals. So you want to maintain your business, but you recognize you have to leave. The challenge of buying a new property and selling a property between point A and point B might take you 6 months. But over that 6-month window, you want to make sure that you still have income coming in and revenue coming in that might happen to extend 13 months, 14 months, 15 months, 16 months out. So one of the challenges is how does somebody have enough time to move into a selling period to find a different property and still recognize that we're removing that opportunity. I'm not suggesting we shouldn't, it's just the courtesy to the owner.
Yeah, something to be considering.
Something to consider, which is there's a period of time where they have to take action. And if you completely stop it at 12 months, because these rentals typically go out 12 months and are on a rolling scale, there might be so long as we have the ability to rescind the permit,
Mhm.
there might be some consideration to the fact that that transition takes a little more time than maybe what we presented.
And that can be a discussion that we
That
can
can be a
have
discussion.
in the public.
And in this
Yeah.
instance, it would be very, very closely tied to addressing the revocation of a special permit,
Mhm.
because the longer you go, the more risk you have to your residential community.
Mhm.
And so if you were to extend it, you have to have the
Mhm.
full ability to rescind it if there's an issue.
Understood.
So,
Thank you. No,
just
thank
some
you. Good,
thoughts.
all good thoughts there. Yeah, Dorothea?
Okay. Steve wanted me to request from the board, and I spoke to Jeff, and it's something the code is really making a determination that the board has to issue direction. We've been sending a notice of violation on a property maintenance code, basically mowing the lawn, taking care of those things. It's not being delivered because there's no forwarding, there's nothing. The property, we've been trying to get it mowed for over a month. We would like to mow it and pass that cost.
Yes,
Pass that cost on to the bill.
put it on the tax bill.
Make a motion to mow the property and bill.
I need you to say the address, 9 Courtney Circle.
Make a motion to mow the property at 9 Courtney Circle and bill it back to the landowner.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Okay, trustee Marshall?
Aye.
Trustee Lanfair?
Aye.
Trustee Lickett?
Aye.
Mayor Plummer?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
I make a motion to adjourn. Is there?
There was a hand up.
Oh,
Actually, there were two.
okay, yeah.
If it's okay, I can answer David's question,
Mm.
just because of my work.
Okay.
You have, someone who sells an income property, an income producing property, can enter into what's called a 1031 tax-free exchange. And they get an opportunity to sell that property. They have an extended period of time, I think it's currently 9 months, when they can just identify a property they want to buy. So I don't know that the village necessarily has to attempt to alleviate any problem for a landlord who has determined that it's time to sell their short-term rental. Because the landlord can in fact do that themselves by entering into this agreement. They would have no taxes on gain, and they would be able to enter into the other property on the same basis that they sold.
I would simply suggest that the period of time, and again, I know this isn't a back and forth.
Whatever you choose is fine, I'm just telling you, there is a method
Okay.
to do that.
No, and thanks for bringing that up. I forgot about that, actually. So thanks for bringing that up. Okay. Oh, another hand's up. Yep. Okay, so we're still, yep, taking comment.
If there's a moratorium on the Airbnbs, how come we have so many of them now?
What do you mean?
There's 15 or 18 of them.
15 out of hundreds of housing stock, and on a percentage basis, I can tell you that it's less than 0.5% of the overall residential housing.
Well, they came in before the moratorium.
And they came in before the moratorium, so that's why we have the moratorium, is like, let's hit the pause button.
Right.
Whatever's here is here currently, and now this is why we're all here, trying to work through this legislation and what are our next steps for our community. So thank you for that. Yep. Okay. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
Dave's got it. That was Dave.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, trustee Lickett?
Aye.
Trustee Lanfair?
Aye.
Trustee Marshall?
Aye.
Mayor Plummer?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good evening. So you're leaving tomorrow? You're leaving tomorrow?